He was born a slave but died as one of the most influential teachers of his time. Yet, Epictetus would not have labeled himself a teacher. He was a philosopher, a Stoic philosopher. He pursued a particular type of knowledge, one that, when applied, assisted in facing and overcoming life's inevitable challenges. Drawing from his own life experiences and the wisdom of his mentor, the Stoic philosopher Musonius Rufus, Epictetus offered insights that people would travel hundreds of miles just to hear, even if only for an hour or two. People sent their children to listen to him. The poor, the affluent, the powerful, even the future Emperor Hadrian, they all sought the opportunity to sit at Epictetus' feet. Luckily for us, a young man who frequently attended these sessions took notes on Epictetus' teachings, and remarkably, these notes have been preserved and passed down through the ages, influencing some of history's greatest figures. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, for instance, expressed gratitude in his journal for a friend who had loaned him a copy of Epictetus' teachings. Theodore Roosevelt famously carried a copy of Epictetus with him during his perilous River of Doubt expedition. Admiral James Stockdale leaned on Epictetus' wisdom while leading fighter squadrons in Vietnam and surviving 7 years as a prisoner of war. The list of those influenced by Epictetus is endless, and hopefully, by the end of this video, you'll understand why and perhaps even join the ranks of Epictetus admirers. He truly was one of the wisest and most inspiring individuals to have ever lived. Epictetus' first piece of advice is this: divide and distinguish things into two categories, what's within your control and what's not. Where will you find good and bad? In you, in the choices you make. This singular skill, Epictetus asserted, will transform your life. The art of differentiating between what is up to us and what isn't, what we have influence over and what we do not. If a flight is delayed due to weather, no amount of yelling at the airline representative will stop the storm. No amount of wishing can make you taller, shorter, or born in another country. No matter how hard you try, you can't force someone to like you. All the time spent fighting against these immovable objects is time wasted, time not spent on the things we can actually change. As Epictetus said, all we can control are the choices we make right now. The same goes for you. Focus on what parts of your day are within your control and what parts are not. By doing so, you'll not only be happier but also have a significant advantage over those who waste their time on unwinnable battles. It is not events that disturb people, Epictetus said, but their judgment about things. Albert Ellis, a key figure in modern psychology, credited this line with guiding the development of cognitive behavioral therapy. According to Epictetus, the most important power we possess is the ability to decide what something means. Something happens, and we decide it's unfair, bad, or a failure. Someone says something, and we decide it's offensive, presumptuous, or rude. If someone manages to provoke you, Epictetus said, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. Events are objective. The opinion that they're objectionable is merely that, an opinion, and you always have the power to change it. Get rid of self-conceit, Epictetus advised, because it's impossible to learn what you think you already know. He constantly kept his eyes and ears open, always searching for opportunities to learn from everyone and everything. This is the attitude we must adopt daily. Whether we're the best at what we do or just starting out, it doesn't matter. Every person we meet, every situation we find ourselves in, every book we read or movie we watch, holds an opportunity to learn, to keep improving, to move forward on the path to progress. One of Epictetus' favorite questions was, how have you made progress? More than anything else, we answer that question by focusing on what we don't know, where we can improve, rather than congratulating ourselves for how great we are. The true person is revealed in difficult times, Epictetus said. So when trouble comes, think of yourself as a wrestler paired with a tough young opponent. For what purpose? To turn you into Olympic-class material. We can view hardship in many ways, as failure, as unfairness, as the end of the road. We might say, this wasn't meant to be, or they don't want me to succeed, so why bother trying? Or, we can choose a better perspective. We can train ourselves to see hardship as an opportunity to learn about endurance, patience, resilience, struggle. We can see it as a chance to prove our mettle, as resistance that makes our muscles stronger. As a sparring partner, Epictetus preferred this latter view and became, in his time and ours, the ultimate symbol of human resilience in the face of dark circumstances. He taught that it's not about simply accepting hardship or resigning ourselves to it, but about deciding to work with it, to make the most of it, to see it as an opportunity, not an obstacle. In this way, everything that happens to us can be turned into fuel, making us better and stronger. Would you like to know what philosophy truly offers humanity? Seneca once said, "Philosophy offers counsel." Born at the turn of the first millennium, a time of paranoia, violence, and political turmoil, Seneca needed counsel just as you do. He read widely and eventually discovered Stoicism, a school of philosophy founded in Greece only a few centuries earlier. In the works of the Stoics, Seneca found what he was searching for: guidance on how to live a good life. He began writing letters and essays to family, friends, and promising young talents, sharing the wisdom that had transformed his life. "Nothing will ever please me," he said, "no matter how excellent or beneficial, if I must retain the knowledge of it myself. No good thing is pleasant to possess without friends to share it. There are more things likely to frighten us than there are to crush us." Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Seneca's life was filled with suffering. He was born with a chronic lung condition, lived through the reigns of 5 increasingly deranged and violent emperors, was exiled, and lost everything twice. Yet despite all this suffering, his advice was that the only thing we should fear is what we worry about. We spend so much time imagining and worrying in advance that we torture ourselves more than the actual event ever could, if it even happens at all. The most important thing to remember about pain and suffering, Seneca said, is that they are inevitable. They can't be avoided. But what we must avoid are the phantom premonitions of what may or may not happen. Instead of suffering in imagination, focus on what's right in front of you. Stay in the present. Stay in reality. Excellence withers without an adversary. Seneca said, "As fire is the test of gold, so adversity is the test of strong men." We like to live comfortably, minimize inconveniences, avoid doing what we dislike, and find what we enjoy and never leave. But Seneca said that this is a kind of death trap. A person who has never been challenged, who always gets their way, is a tragic figure. You have passed through life without an opponent. He said, "No one can ever know what you are capable of. Not even you." This is why Seneca repeatedly emphasized the importance of adversity, not just embracing the struggles life throws at you, but actively seeking out difficulty, so you can grow stronger, better, and more prepared. Every day, he said, we should challenge ourselves, make choices that push us rather than allow us to atrophy. And when we face tough situations, we should be grateful for the opportunity they provide to realize our full potential. Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Seneca said, "Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. The process is mutual, for men learn as they teach." Jim Rohn's widely quoted line is that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. James Altucher advises young writers and entrepreneurs to find their scene, a group of peers who push them to be better. But Goethe's maxim is perhaps even more powerful: "Tell me whom you consort with, and I will tell you who you are." Seneca believed that if there's one thing we should be especially cautious about, it's who we surround ourselves with. "I never bring back home the same character I took with me," he said. There is no person who does not stamp their character upon us or taint us unconsciously. We must carefully consider who we allow into our lives. We can't be afraid to cut ties with old environments or relationships that no longer serve us, and we must not hesitate to reach out to new people or break into better social circles. The stakes are high, as Seneca put it. Just as some diseases jump onto those we have touched, so the mind infects those closest to us with evils. This is our big mistake, Seneca said, to think we look forward to death. Most of death is already gone. Whatever time has passed is owned by death. Like many philosophers, death was a recurring theme in Seneca's writings. Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. He said, "Let us postpone nothing. Let us balance